Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well and welcome to another episode of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. Before we get into it though, I want to give a tiny bit of context. This is the TV movie special where Crispy and I talk about watching the TV movie together, which we did about 2 weeks ago now, and this was recorded before the Comic-Con episode. As most of you will know by now, it'll all be back to normal going forward from next week onwards, but just for context, if during this episode you hear me say, I'm meeting David Tennant next week, you probably know by now that that's already happened because that episode came out last week, but I just figured it would take way too long to edit it out, and I also know you guys wouldn't care enough for me to actually sit here for hours and painstakingly change bits around for the sake of context. So I thought I'd just put this in here and be done with it. Okay, enough talking from me. Let's go on with the episode as normal. Enjoy. So how are you feeling after seeing the film then?
I don't know. Troy,
you don't know?
That was a lot.
Are you ready to talk about it for approximately an hour in an episode of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast?
I think that would be the most appropriate thing to do right now.
Sounds like a good plan, and I think we should roll the intro so we can get started. So why don't we do that right now?
Roll it!
Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, the show where two YouTubers get together and talk about our favourite TV show, Doctor Who. But sometimes it's not a TV show, sometimes it's a film. So here today, to talk with me, your host Red Archer Live, is your co-host Crispy Pro, as we discuss Doctor Who, the TV movie, which we have just watched.
Literally finished minutes ago,
with my internet dying towards the end of it, which made it very exciting. I'm sure Crispy was on the edge of his seat waiting for it to come back up to finish the film. But yeah, so this is going to be a different episode. We're not going to be talking too much about the news. We'll just say very quickly, we have heard that Matt Smith and Karen Gillan have both said they're interested in coming back to Doctor Who, and we both think that's very exciting.
And we're very interested in that too.
That's our amazing discussion for that, so we'll probably talk about that later, like in a different episode, because we don't need to talk about it right now. We're going to avoid questions and all that, we're just going to talk about the film, and then just leave it at that. It's going to be a special TV movie episode, and Crispy here is going to be editing this one, so if you notice any differences in the video or the audio, judge him, because I'm busy this week, and he's stepped up to the plate. He's actually going to do some work.
To the plate, everyone.
He's going to do some work. I can't believe he's actually going to do some work on this podcast rather than just opening this gob for an hour.
People said it couldn't be done.
People said it couldn't be done, but it could be done. Gotta be careful. Someone commented last week saying I was smug, so I've got to not be smug now.
Did they? Really?
Yeah, someone commented on the video at Troy is smug, and I was like, oh, where are you getting that from? And I was like, okay, all right.
Was the user Crispy Pro?
Yes, it was you. It was actually you.
I see.
So I'm very smug and egotistical now. I've tried not to come across that way, but I have.
It's all right.
What can you do?
No, it's all right, mate. I edit this, so this episode you will not come across that way.
You just cut that bit out anyway.
Exactly. But I have so much power here editing. I could have a wacky sound effect right here.
Oh,
I could have a wacky sound effect right here.
Please don't start doing that. But no,
I could have a wacky sound effect right here.
It's not a YouTube video.
It's
you don't
a
need
podcast.
Shane Dawson thuds and all kinds of smacks, especially with recent news. We don't need any more smack sound effects in any kind of media, thank you. The Oscars was enough for everyone, I think, thank you.
I think it absolutely was. Speaking of enough for everyone, wow, that film was something.
Okay, let's start off by asking you. Well, for context, I have seen the film before. I didn't remember a ton of it because it's been years. Crispy has never seen the film. He's seen clips.
Never, ever.
But never seen the full film. So, I'm going to start by asking you, score of 1 to 10. What would you give Doctor Who the TV movie? Yes, it puts you on the spot. No, I don't care.
That's absolutely fine. I'd say for the first hour, I was having a really, really good time.
Right.
I genuinely thought it was great. So up until then, I'd say maybe, like a 7-ish, 7.5. I was having a grand old time. And then, I don't know if you'll agree with me here, but I just feel like that ending, the final act of that movie, everything just kind of falls to pieces. So I don't know, I'd give it a 6 out of 10, maybe. Is that harsh?
Not really.
Do people like the TV movie?
I don't know, I don't know whether it's even got like a cult following or anything. I think people love Paul McGann, but don't really talk about the film much.
Yeah,
they kind of say Paul McGann's great, but
Paul McGann was good, and I think he's a good casting. But I feel
he was much better in Night of the Doctor.
Yeah,
but I think that's down to script. Like that man
definitely
can act, and there were moments in that film when he really did. He was shining, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's difficult. Because I have, like I said, I haven't seen it for years, so a lot of it I didn't really remember. I knew pieces that I could still remember and bits that I'd seen. I did not remember Lee getting his neck. I don't know whether this is a bit TMI for a clean podcast, probably not, but I don't remember Lee getting his neck snapped by the Master. That caught me off guard. I was like,
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was like, wow,
and then I
okay.
thought they were going to kill him off. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then,
just when I was
the
getting
Master
to
just
like
chucked
him.
Grace off a balcony, and it was like, oh, she's fine. And then she was actually dead. And then the
She's
TARDIS
dead.
brought them back to life, apparently.
Which was nice.
Yeah, but the last time the
never
TARDIS
been done.
interfered with a human, it turned them into a space god that disintegrated Daleks, so it was a bit...
Maybe the TARDIS didn't like Rose.
TARDIS went, I'm going to give Rose so much power, she dies on the spot. Let's go.
She dies.
Oh, but
that
brain
was...
is just like, it's muddled. We need to kind of like organize our thoughts and like properly talk about the film.
going
I feel
to
like
mush.
all we're going to do is bounce about. Basically, what I did about Jodie Whittaker is just going to be my thoughts all over the show. Which, for the record, remember next week is the next Comic-Con episode, so get ready for more of my ramblings. I don't actually know. They posted the times on the comic convention thing. I wonder if I'd be meeting Paul McGann the time this episode goes live. That'd be really funny.
Please.
Should we
That'd
just
be crazy.
check for comedic effect if I can load Twitter
You
up
can
fast
check.
enough? Twitter,
That's
can you
fine.
please load? Come on, let's see. Let's see the photo
I'll
schedule.
riff.
Let's go. You riff. Go on. What riffing
I'll riff
have you got?
for a bit. Well, I don't have any Doctor Who jokes this week, much to Troy's pleasure.
Good.
But I will say, just on the record right now, that intro music for the TV movie is an absolute banger. Absolute
good.
heater of a track. Troy and I we have footage of it. I think I might do like a little watch along video because we did record our parts, even though the internet cut out about 7 times.
He's only on at 5 o'clock on the Saturday, and this episode goes about 12ish, 1ish UK time. So I'll be meeting Paul McGann about 4 or 5 hours after this goes up. So there you go. There's not many people booked to see him, interestingly enough.
Can you see how many people have booked?
Well, you can judge it because of the schedule, because obviously they'll assign a bigger time window if there's more ticket sales. Colin Baker's only got 15
Sherlock
minutes.
Holmes over here.
But Paul McGann's got 20. And Colin didn't have tons in London. It's like a group of people, but not like tons of people. To be fair, there's a lot of people I'm surprised didn't have much time. There'll be more for Mark Shepherd, the guy out of Supernatural, Crowley, but he's only got 20 minutes as well. This is very, very surprising. Very surprising. Whereas David Tennant, first 3 groups of David are 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
So we're starting off, it's all about the Master. Like, they said at the very start, the Master has run out of lives. That was one thing that I was like, oh, I don't remember them saying that. Because obviously it's kind of a joke among fans where it's like, oh, you know, the Master just kind of always comes back. You always expect him to show back up again. And it's, again, why the Timeless Child would make more sense to be the Master. But that's a debate, as we've already discussed on. Like we said, I like the Timeless Child. I just think it was wasted on the Doctor and it should have been the Master. But
should have been the Master. It's a much more interesting story point, but that's okay.
But, so it was interesting that they commented on that. Why is the Master's remains, that I thought when they said remains would be like powder, why is it a weird slug cobra thing?
I don't know, and it's never really like properly addressed. It just kind of is.
No, it's a slug, and then it's a cobra, and then it's Neo Terminator, and then it's on Grace for a bit because he spits on Grace like it's a scene from 1986 film The Fly, which was a comment I made during the commentary. So if he does edit the video at this commentary, and I really hope he does because there were some golden jokes there. Some that I think might have gone a bit too far. I think there were some jokes he made that you might have had to get cut because we made some.
There definitely is.
Nothing cancelable, just, you know, when you're trying to keep a podcast clean, there are certain things you don't say, and there were things that we kind of said during the film. You know what the Master's consciousness looks like? You can kind of reach for where we were going with that and why we're not making it. Yeah, you can reach.
Excellent way of explaining our joke there,
exactly.
Troy. That's good.
Subtlety.
That's good. Subtlety is our key.
And if you don't get it, you're too young, don't ask your parents. That would be an awkward conversation.
Do not ask your parents.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Do not. But
Sylvester McCoy, bless him, coming back.
What?
Oh, go on.
Sorry. You start. I'll cut this.
Sylvester can wait. He's still waiting for his 4th series. He can wait for me to talk about him.
Okay, fair. Well, I was just gonna say
that was savage.
That was savage. No, I was just gonna say I feel like this story was almost more of a Master story than a New Doctor story. You know what I mean? Do you understand where I'm going with that?
A little bit, yeah. Actually, I kind of get that.
Because I don't know, imagine in the modern era, if David Tennant's first episode, they also introduced John Sim.
That is a really good point. You kind of need an unknown baddie to go against, or like relatively unknown to try and like refresh the era. I mean, yeah, David Tennant went against the Sycorax, Matt against the Atraxi, Capaldi against the Clockwork Robots. I guess they weren't new, but it was a new branch of them. But either way, it didn't really matter in that sense. And then Jodie was Tim Shaw. Like it's been different every time. And Eccleston was the Autons, but they don't even talk, so they're a good classic villain to put a Doctor up against realistically.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just feel like the Master's a very ballsy pick for.
Yeah, that is.
But I mean, I enjoyed the Master.
Yeah, I liked him. I think he played it very, very seriously, and it came off well most of the time. But there were points where I was kind of like, doesn't feel like he's getting to do a ton. He's just kind of looking menacingly. Or like twisting his head, like, oh, my headphones just came off. But he does it like super fast. He like jolts his head.
He does go very
and then,
fast.
Like he talks a lot like this. I am the master. Mm-hmm. That made for a very funny scene in the bedroom when he first becomes the master and he strangles his wife, where she's like, "Oh, come back to bed, sweetie." No, honey. And he goes, "You can't call me honey. You should call me master." And she's into it. She's like, I'll call you master.
Oh my gosh. Who is this husband and where has he been?
I thought the fire in our marriage had died out, but he's here trying to tell me to call him master. Let's go, baby. 20 years and he's still feeling young.
He's still got it.
He's still got it. But
dearie me.
It's an odd one. It's an odd one. He's not my favourite master, although that scene where he comes down the wstairs in the Time Lord robes, where did you get those from?
Gosh.
I guess the TARDIS wardrobe, but whatever, and he just goes, "I always dress for the occasion." It's like,
that so mastery. That was perfect. That was perfect.
And I don't like.
That's my
I hate
favorite
that this meme has taken over my brain so much because I hated it at first, but drip. There was some serious drip.
Absolute drip.
For the older listeners, if you don't know that meme, drip, you basically just say drip when someone's got a good outfit on. Because we actually have got a very wide array of listeners, which I always thought was really cool for age range. We've actually got like a really good spread across the ages, which is really cool.
Oh, excellent. Well, hopefully us watching the TV movie can attract more classic fans.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. We'll get more views.
Maybe.
We'll get more attention. We need attention. Give us attention. We crave it.
Please. I need it. I feed off it.
What was weird, Madame Butterfly screams to me, because I saw that opera as a kid. I was saying this to Crispy when we were watching the film, but my mum was... she still kind of is, but she was properly into operas when I was younger, so she would take me to a couple every now and again when one came on that she wanted to go and watch. And as a young, impressionable kid, I quite liked them. Now I've kind of grown up, I'm like, you know what? I'm not huge on them anymore, but I liked them as a kid, and I still appreciate them now. I think they're fantastic pieces of theatre, I guess, is not really the right word, but Madame Butterfly was one of the operas that we saw. And so I recognised the song immediately and remembered, I was like, oh yeah, they really have a thing for Puccini and Madame Butterfly in this. And they kept playing that little bit of the song about 5 different times in the film.
It repeats so much.
There's that one track, and then there's also the one as Sylvester's like, when does it first happen? No, when the Master's kind of like hitting the TARDIS, it's like dun dun dun.
Yeah.
It's a bit Eye on the Doctor-y almost, but it's really cool.
Gives you that vibe.
Speaking of which, actually,
it's very good.
For people who haven't heard the Suicide Mission track out of Mass Effect 2, and I made that reference a few episodes ago, saying that, Mass Effect 2
sounds like I Am the
Doctor. I have got my vinyl player right here. It's just off camera. But I have completely finally tidied my room. I've got a full display ready. I'm going to do a room tour on my own channel, which would be really cool soon. But I wanted to get my vinyl player out and have it to play vinyl whenever I wanted, because it was like under my desk. It's sat here and ready. So if you lot want, in a future episode, I could just pop the vinyl on, because it's game music. It shouldn't get us copyrighted. Game OSTs are normally fine. I could pop the disc on for a second and just
Live
play
on the
it.
edge.
And then you could all hear it. So if you want to hear that, let us know, and I'll do that.
I definitely think we should do that in a future episode.
But point being, that track in the movie again gave me Eye on the Doctor vibes, and I am not complaining, because it slapped every time it came on. I was like, dun 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 dun.
It was a vibe.
It goes. I was like, oh, let's go. Get you fired up. It gets you fired up.
Yeah, because I feel like that was probably like the only piece of music that kind of stuck out to me, like as in like an original music that wasn't operatic.
Yeah, and there wasn't the main theme remixed, which, by the way, can we just talk about, like, as a music nerd, the fact that they actually started the theme off this time with the middle 8, that is so cool. So, like, they actually start with dun 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 dun, opening with that rather than dun 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 dun. Like, that was really cool.
I didn't even realise that.
That's one thing that I noticed about that track that I absolutely love, is it genuinely does mix up the theme a little bit, but also change the structure. So it was, and then
Now
you
I
can hear
love
it.
it
It comes
more.
in towards the end. It's like dun dun, but it comes in after like 20 seconds or so. So it's beautiful.
So cool.
I'm one of those nerds that like has genuinely listened to a playlist on Spotify that's every Doctor Who TV theme one after the others, just kind of listen to them and see how they differ. And you do notice it when you're listening to all of them. You notice immediately as soon as a TV movie comes on. It starts with like some drumming and some like dun 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 dun, and then it builds in because it's like the bit from Paul McGann's commentary at the start, I guess. Which, by the way, it's kind of weird when you think about it that like Paul McGann does the opening commentary while Sylvester McCoy is still the Doctor. Which is kind of funny, you know?
Whoa! I never
It's almost like he's
even
narrating it like,
thought
this
of
is
that.
a story about how I became this Doctor, but I'm still this Doctor at the minute. I'm still Sylvester, who,
That's
my man was getting some Doc
crazy.
Brown hair. Can we talk about his Doc Brown hair? I mean, it was literally brown. It was literally Doc Brown hair. That's an even better pun.
Oh, it was
But
Doc Brown. Wow.
He looked quite cool. I liked it. Although, one little thing that I was spotted right at the start, why didn't he carry his Sonic? Why was it in like a weird toolbox? Like, you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
Why wasn't he carrying the
threw
Sonic?
it away.
Why was he carrying it? I don't know what was going on.
He was wasn't he like reading at the start? Was Sylvester reading or something?
He was reading
just
The
chilling.
Time Machine by H.G. Wells.
Like
an absolute Chad.
Right. Absolute Chad move.
Why?
What a Chad move.
It's just so on the nose. It's
a little on the nose, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
But there was some
it
really
was
good
nice seeing
shots.
Sylvester though. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was some really good
Absolutely.
shots. Like the shots of the TARDIS were brilliant. That interior is just
That was
interior is
stunning.
crispy. Oh, hello, hello.
Oh.
Didn't even intend
dearie.
that. Didn't even intend that. That was
Yes, you
subconscious.
did. Yes,
that was
you
that
did.
was genuinely
Oh.
subconscious. I should have said crisp.
Have I
and in my
crept
head, I
into
said
your
crispy.
subconscious?
It was genuinely.
Wow.
I should have said crisp and said crispy, but didn't say it consciously. I said crispy and then went, "Oh, crispy pro."
Oh.
Wow, I
corrupted
really
you. I'm
need to
so
get outside
sorry.
and touch grass, as they say.
Yeah. But no, I hate to know how much they spent on the TARDIS interior, because if that was the one time they use it, I'm like, oh.
Oh,
Yeesh.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Because that TARDIS interior is so cool. It's so
stunning.
cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. What was the chamber called with the Eye of Harmony in? It was called the... Oh, I can't remember what it was called.
Oh,
Oh.
dearie. The dojo.
What? I might know that there's 17 DVDs in Blink off the top of my head, but I don't remember what the room was called with the Eye of Harmony in, but it's like... I've played... I'm going to proper go nerdy again. I've played a mod in Skyrim that adds the TARDIS
Yes,
in.
of course you have.
Yeah, of course I have, because it's me we're talking about. Come on. And I was like in that mod there's all sorts of different rooms, and there are some I've always wondered and gone, some of these rooms look nothing like what's in the TV series, and I forget that there's literally a chamber in that mod that looks just like that one in the movie, where you literally can, your character, you can give them the regeneration ability as part of the mod. And you have to go around and flick a few buttons on balconies, and it looks just like that room. And I was like, why have they built a room like this to give you generation? It's very odd, and I'd forgotten that's what the room looked like.
That's exactly what happens in the TV
that.
movie.
Yeah, it was mad. It honestly was
Well, that
really
sounds pretty
cool.
fun, though.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
mod.
awesome.
It's very good. I recommend all the Skyrim gamers out there to play it. It is on console, but it's better on PC. It's basically the Payday 2 of Skyrim mods, which is very funny. My Payday listeners will get that one. Haha, cheers to you. You know all about Payday, don't you?
Yes, Payas Deus, my favorite. My
Payas
favorite.
Deus.
Little reference there to me and Troy's first ever podcast together 2 years ago.
What was the podcast called?
It was called The Red Cast. You see,
Good,
I've
man.
learned.
The way that you said it with chest in that first episode. You went with chest. You went, we were on a podcast called Red Archer Live.
Red Archer Live.
You just see the little look on my face where I'm like, what? It wasn't called that, but all right.
I'm sorry.
Mate.
And you'll never forgive me.
Mate.
You'll never forgive me for
I will
that.
never forgive you. I will never forgive you. It was an experience,
damn.
just like the T-shirt you're wearing. Or does it say festival? I hope it says experience.
It's the festival. No, you got it wrong. I'm wearing a Doctor Who... You want to see something real cool?
Go on.
You ready? Hang on. Hang
Oh,
on.
no. What's he
Hold
doing?
on, people.
Crispy
Hold
Pro
on,
leg
people.
reveal? What's going on here?
Crispy Pro leg... Hang on. Everyone, hang in there. Audio listeners, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You ready? You ready? Boom! It says crew.
It says crew on the back of the T-shirt. What's going on there?
I was crew for the Doctor Who festival.
Bro, are you-
baby.
Those are the shortest shorts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, they're rugby shorts. I don't usually...
I was going to say, I was like, mate, you're not leaving much to the imagination there. Good grief.
That's all right. That's a free one for all our video listeners. I hope that gives people the incentive to check out the YouTube channel if they're just listening. But yeah. Speaking of crew, we were talking about the cinematography just before.
We were. I was going to say...
What did you think of the direction of this movie?
I think there were some great shots. There were some really good shots. There's one of Paul McGann walking down the corridor and the camera's kind of like turning, and it just gave me mad Doctor Strange vibes. I was just about to mention that. Like, I get Doctor Strange vibes from that. Maybe because it's like just over a month until Multiverse of Madness comes out, and I'm very, very excited for it. So my brain's just
Should we talk about that on the podcast, even though it's not...
Oh, can we talk about Morbius when that comes out?
No. I mean, well, Matt Smith...
The reviews are apparently awful for it, and Matt Smith has apparently said that he still doesn't really know who his character is after playing the whole part, which is a bit cursed. I'm still excited for the film. I'm still looking forward to seeing the film. I think it'll be decent.
I'll still watch it.
I'm one of those people who finds the good things in most films. I'm basically Cinema Wins, but without the YouTube channel. So, like, I will just probably enjoy it regardless.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. But we might. If you guys want to hear us talk about that, then feel free to let us know, because that's one thing. I said to listen to the Nerd Cubed one, that Doctor Who, where like in that they often spend a lot of time going like, let's talk about Picard, or let's talk about this, or let's talk about that. We've done good not signing off to other topics constantly, but we could occasionally do it if there's a film you want to hear us talk about. Or something, we could do that for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes.
Touch on something for a bit.
Yeah, so we could, and then in post we could edit in and be like, skip to 15 minutes if you don't want to hear us talking about Doctor Strange or whatever it might be. So maybe we'll do that. But yeah, excited for that film. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'm going to see Morbius tomorrow though, so the next time we record, I'll have seen it. Oh, really? So if you're going to watch it, try and watch it, and then we can talk about it. No, because
I could try.
Well, we said we were going to do an episode talking about like where are they now? Like talking about like how actors have moved on from Doctor Who, and how, like, as we can say now, one of them's won an Oscar. I mean, Mary Galal, hello, she's won an Oscar,
which is crazy.
What's her actual name? I can't remember the actress's name, but it was Mary like Galal from Rings of Rakatan.
Maddie something? I can't remember now.
But she's won an Oscar, so we could talk about loads of stuff like that. But I was thinking for Matt Smith, a good one to talk about would be Morbius. So if we can both make sure we've seen 100%. That film, and I feel like most listeners probably won't care if we spoil it, because most people seem to care about the film, but we'll warn you ahead of time. So if you can see Morbius and you're interested,
Sony just spoil it?
Apparently the director did a Q&A, and he agreed to answer any and all questions, and he just answered everything like a week before the film came out. So
ridiculous.
I think I know what happens in one of the end credit scenes, but only from someone talking about it in a tweet, and I read it thinking it was about MCU Spider-Man, and then I realized, I was like, this doesn't happen in MCU. Oh, wait, are you trying to tie...
Oh, wait.
It's something. I'm not going to spoil it, but like it's something to do with the Vulture. There's something to do with him in the credit scene, I'm pretty sure. And like that's why I'm like, I read the tweet and I was like, is this? Oh, really? Is this a credit scene? Have I just spoiled a credit scene for myself? Is that what I've just done? I don't know. It's weird. It's bizarre. Weird. It is bizarre. Speaking of bizarre,
it'd be like.
Did you know that Doctor Who recorded a TV movie in 1996, and that's what we should be talking about right now?
Oh my god, I do. I do know that. We were talking about the cinematography. Let's get back on track. Yeah, so cinematography, there were some good shots that were great, and there were some shots that made me feel like we were watching an episode of Grey's Anatomy. I'm using that pun because I was really proud of that during the commentary track. I was so proud of that. There was
How many people actually get that joke? How many people are actually going to get that joke? Should we explain the joke, or should we just kind of...
If you have to explain the joke, it's not a joke. All right.
Well said. We have to explain what drip means, but we don't have to explain jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Every episode now we should explain a new meme.
Okay, so next
week, maybe I hopefully you'll have seen the Sonic movie, so I'll be like, in next week's episode, we're going to explain the Ugandan Knuckles meme. Do you know what I'm noticing right now? I feel like at the minute we are just going off topic a lot, and I feel like we're going to have to make a lot of cuts, because we're just... This is the problem. This is why we need structure. This is why we are a podcast with a plan, because normally we have our news, we have our questions, then we have the main topic. I think maybe we should have kept the same structure, because now I'm sat here going, my brain is just running at 100 miles an hour trying to think of things to talk about from the film. Here's the next one. Why did Grace not travel with the 8th Doctor afterwards? There wasn't even a question. He didn't even ask her. It was just kind of assumed, where she was like, right, I'm off, bye-bye. And he was like, okay, bye-bye.
She did not care. I mean, what a strange... ending.
Yeah, the third act. Let's talk about the third act, because you said you thought that was strange. So,
the third act hurt me.
Which bit are we talking about? Are we talking about from when they first arrived back in the TARDIS?
Yeah, I'd probably go. Yeah, I reckon. Yeah. They're all in the TARDIS.
So it starts with a good bit of the secret key being hidden in the top of the TARDIS. I liked that.
Love that.
It'd be cool if they brought that back at some point. And side note, I like that TARDIS key. I got one, and I showed this to Christy on the recording. I got one from that Eagle Moss Doctor Who Advent calendar that was like £100. I didn't pay £100, thank God. It was like on offer because it wasn't selling. Is it any wonder for that price? Bless them. I like Eagle Moss. I've got a ton of their figurines, but £100 for an Advent calendar? What were you lot thinking? Come on. So I got it for half price because there was some good stuff in it. I thought that would be worth the value. But there is a replica of the classic TARDIS key, which I'm showing on the camera now. I'm going to try and turn down my ring light. There you go, make it a bit clearer. And I was always wondering, I was like, when in Classic Who is that key used? And then I just saw him whip it out, pardon the pun, during the film. And I was like, there we go, hello. And it looked cool. And I like that it's kind of like the normal Yale lock, but you flick that away and put the TARDIS key in.
And yeah, that should definitely...
The simplicity
why
of the
did they
Yale
not
key,
bring it back?
Now I've seen that. I'm like, you know what? Russell, maybe that was an L. Maybe you should have kept the TARDIS key. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know,
bring back the TARDIS key.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of want Russell to bring it back in RTD too. Maybe he will. Listen to this podcast, and the key, bring the key back.
Yeah, please. And the key being like on top of the... Like, he's like, oh, it's above the P. In the police box.
Brill.
That's so random.
As soon as they got in there, it just kind of got a bit confusing. They were trying to shut the Eye of Harmony to stop it from like destroying the universe. Typical Doctor Who stakes for the Master, obviously.
Yeah, the idea was the Master was like, all right, all life's gonna get sucked into the Eye of Harmony. Was that the plan?
Yeah, all life on the planet will get sucked into the Eye of Harmony because he's using it to steal the Doctor's body. Yeah. Which already is a bit of a reach, but it's Doctor Who, so don't question it too much. But then, he's saying about going back in time to stop it and reverse it, and at that point, I just completely lost it.
I lost it. As soon as they mentioned their plan to win.
Yeah, I don't 100% understand it. Should I tell you what?
I don't understand why they ended off.
Shall I do an amazing thing and just look up the plot on Wikipedia and just see what Wikipedia tells us? See if it explains it a bit better than we can. Doctor Who, the TV movie plot. Let's see how it tries to explain that, because I don't understand the last act. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on, there's an actual Doctor Who Wikipedia. This might be better. The ends of the TARDIS with the cloister bells ringing. The Doctor is able to close the Eye of Harmony. However, a quick temporal scan confirms that the eye has been open too long and the Earth is still in danger. The only solution is to take the TARDIS back to a time before the eye was opened, but since the eye has been open so long, the TARDIS now has no power. Oh, right. Wait, what?
That is not the impression that I got. But the TARDIS is a time machine. Like, it's not...
Yeah, so surely
the TARDIS is always in a state of flux.
Yeah, surely it shouldn't matter what time it is on Earth, because it was all happening within the TARDIS, and it's time and relative dimension in space.
Dimension in space.
Is it not relative to the TARDIS, or is it relative to... Maybe it's relative to the planet that it's landed on? I don't know why I'm struggling so hard to grasp this.
Doesn't make any sense. It'd be like, imagine I have a hot dog, and I've walked into the DeLorean, and then I eat the hot dog, and then I travel in the DeLorean to the past. I'm not expecting to get my hot dog back because I ate it in the DeLorean.
Yeah. That's actually a really good analogy. I like that.
Yeah, you see where I'm going with it?
55 makes more sense, and that basically just disregarded the entire rule of Doctor Who's time travel.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought up Orphan 55. I've got a Doctor Who
I don't think anyone else is.
Look at what the date is today.
Oh wow, what?
Let's go.
Wait, what? Is that like a different date for picture for every day of the year? What? I have a Doctor Who Flux calendar somewhere over there, and I haven't got anywhere to put it up, and it annoys me.
Let's go to the date that this episode will actually be out on.
Is that Friday the 2nd? Second Friday the 2nd.
Oh my gosh. You ready for this?
Go on.
Jodie! We made it to Jodie, baby.
We made it to Jodie.
That's so exciting.
It doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, Orphan 55 straight up just went, the future where Earth is Wasteland is one possible future, and you can prevent it. It's like, no, unless you take the TARDIS back and actively do something, that is the future, because you've landed there. Yeah. That is how Doctor Who has always worked, bro. You can't change it for the sake. Stop. But, like, that makes more sense than whatever the hell was going on in that film. So I agree. The third act got very, very confusing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make sense.
The Master just
like it's very
straight up snapped Lee's neck. I'm still on that.
Yep.
I'm still baffled by that. I was not expecting that to happen.
And the fact that I was vibing their relationship. They were bros.
Well, they were, yeah.
I thought that
also,
they would be besties.
We talk about Doctor holding a gun.
Yeah, what the heck happened there?
It wasn't for the sake of him going against his moral code like it was in the End of Time, where it was like a big thing. He thought the Time Lords were so bad that he kind of had to. It was just like, I just took a gun out of your pocket and I'm waving it about now.
I've got a gun.
It's like a toddler walked in. It's like, have you seen that Vine where it's like, what have you got there? And the kid goes, a knife! And she's like, no!
A knife!
The Doctor is that kid. He's running around with a gun. I've got a gun! And the cop's like, whoa, hang on a minute. It's just...
And then what does Grace go and do? What does Grace go and do?
Yeah, you think, I'm going to defuse the situation. I'm just going to take this gun away from you. I'm just going to take the gun away.
Yeah.
We're all okay. Shooting the motorcycle! And then it just works.
Bang!
The motorcycle just works.
I hated that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're bagging on the movie, but there were just some moments that Troy, like, it stood out to me in Troy.
To be fair, it's okay to bash on it. Like, there's a reason it wasn't renewed for a TV series. We can't sit here and pretend like the film was perfect, because it wasn't. Like it was, It never was.
Absolutely not.
Paul McGann is perfect. He is a perfect human being.
Paul McGann's great. The best thing out of this entire film. Yeah, absolutely
easily,
correct.
Easily.
100% agree.
What do we think of the companions then?
Yes.
Grace.
What do I think of Grace? Potential. There was potential there. I kind of liked that she was a doctor. Martha Jones kind of vibes. But in the end, it just looked like she was too independent for like she didn't really need the doctor. She was fine.
She bounced a lot between like wanting to kiss him and thinking he was insane. Yeah. Which was quite funny. Like he snogged her and then she was just like, "Oh, do it again." And then he said, "I'm an alien." She just runs away. I mean, to be fair, I can kind of imagine that happening in real life, but it was very jarring to watch. It's like, I
don't know.
And then he walks through a window like it's the Take On Me video from the 80s.
Yeah, correct.
We both made that joke because I said it's like an 80s music video, and then we both literally went yeah, she just was bouncing between "I like you, you're confusing me, I like you, you're confusing me." Maybe that's why she didn't even ask if she could come at the end. She was like, "I don't know where I stand with you."
Look,
I just
you're
died,
too much.
So.
That is true. Yeah. No, I don't.
I just died.
I don't know. She's confusing.
Because she did. There you go. Another 80s song. That was from the 80s,
She very much did. It
was an 80s song.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, I think I am a little bit older than you, but I'm not that old.
You lived in the 80s. You thought I was... Did you say I was 48?
Oh, you are 48, aren't you?
No, bro. I'm 57.
Sorry,
get
bro.
It right.
Oh, my bad.
I'm 906.
Whoa. Is that how old he was in the thing?
It was an End of Time reference. I literally said it the way David Tennant says it in that scene where he goes, "I'm 906." And Will's
when
like,
did
really?
he say that in End of when they're just sitting down
together? The scene looking over the earth.
Oh, great scene.
And he's like, 900 years. We must look like ants to you. And he goes, "I think you look like giants."
Oh,
that whole scene. I could have an episode dedicated to that scene. Like,
wouldn't it be crazy if we just called this the TV movie episode, but we spent the rest of it just talking about this one scene in End of Time?
End of Time, yeah. I'm going to mention that to him when I meet him on Saturday. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. Can you believe I'm meeting David? I can't believe that.
I am so jealous. I'm not going to get a word in next week.
You're not? Well, I'm going for 2 days. I'm going across the whole weekend, so I'm going to have twice the pride, double the fall. I'm going to have twice as much to talk about. I can't say that quote anymore without thinking of Razzle, the reacting, because we've been talking about them, like the reacting YouTubers, because they did an episode where they reacted to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Christopher Lee, Count Dooku, was in that film, and they just came in making jokes out of it and linking it to that and going, "Twice the pride, double the chocolate, double the Wonka." And it's like, I just keep having all these things rolling in my head now, or just him randomly going, "Lollipops." Just lollipops.
You're so corrupted. You are so corrupted.
The internet has destroyed me, and you know what?
Absolutely.
It's okay. My sense of humor was bad anyway, so the internet can't really make it much worse. Making me slightly more relevant, hopefully. Slightly. Only slightly.
Slightly. You know? All right, come on. Let's get back on track here. I just think that David's acting in that scene with Wilf was so good. It was just unreal.
I really thought you were like, "Come on, man, we've got to focus," and then just, no, end of time. Sometimes I do think a Time Lord lives too long, and sometimes I think our podcast sessions go on too long.
Absolutely. I think we're messes because we recorded this directly after the movie, and that was just like a hectic... Like,
the problem is I can't handle talking to you for longer than an hour or two, and we've already been on call for
we've realized that
nearly 3 hours, so...
Yeah.
In fact, it has been about 3 hours
sorry,
now.
Listeners.
So yeah, I'm really tired of him, to be honest. I've had way too much crispy for one week.
That's absolutely... I've had way too much Red Arch Alive.
But to be fair, I think in my head the reason is, like, my head is all muddled, but to be fair, there's not a lot to the film. It's not even 90 minutes long, when you think about it. Like, there are episodes of Doctor Who
that are longer than the film.
I think they're
in the modern run?
Hang on, because the longest episode of Doctor Who is Deep Breath. I know that for a fact because it's a couple of minutes longer than the Day of the Doctor. So Deep Breath, Doctor Who runtime. If this is longer than the movie, I swear down.
What are you on about? I watched Deep Breath today.
Deep Breath is 76 minutes. And Day of the
And
Doctor
is that 1 minute longer at 75?
Wait, reckon Day of the Doctor's 77.
I'll be the judge of that.
I remember hearing somewhere Deep Breath was longer, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just an absolute fool.
You are a fool.
I am a fool. Longest episode of Doctor Who.
Sorry, this is welcome to the podcast where Troy and I look at episode run times. I've got 77 minutes for both on my Australian streaming service Stan.
I just googled it and it came up with results for each of them, so maybe they're about the same. So the movie is longer than them. Okay, fine. Didn't really feel like... I feel like more happened in Deep Breath than Day of the Doctor than happened in the movie. Day of the Doctor, certainly, but they did have 3 Doctors to contend with.
Yeah, but still, I honestly feel like the Master got more screen time than McGann.
I think that actually is just true. I think that actually is a fact.
That might... I don't want to... Surely someone out there knows this, or I don't know, we can get one of our listeners to do homework for us.
I'm not sure I want to look that up. But yeah, so Grace was an interesting character. I didn't really love her. But I think it was just because it was all very, very Americanized, and I think because we're such, especially me, such a hardcore Brit, and you're used to the hardcore Britness of Doctor Who, it does feel very jarring because you notice when a show is American. I have American friends. I like America. I like the stuff they put out, but it's you know the difference between an American TV show and a British one. You can tell the difference with your eyes closed. You could listen to the dialogue and know it's American. And, like, you just knew immediately. That's why I made the joke about Grey's Anatomy, because it does look like an episode of Grey's Anatomy with Grace.
It very much did.
I've explained the joke now. I said I wasn't going to, and I've explained the joke.
You explained it. Everyone loves it now.
But
oopsies.
Speaking of other characters, though, Lee. I'm not sure how I feel about Lee. I thought he had more time as the Doctor's actual companion. I did not remember that he just basically became the Master's lackey. The Master almost thought that he asked him to kill him at one point. That was funny.
Yeah.
And
but do people consider Lee and Grace companions?
I think so. I know that...
Is that a thing in the community?
Is it Yi Ji So? Is that how you say his name? I really hope I haven't butchered that. Yeah, Yi Ji So, I think is how you say it.
Yes,
he just released a book about the TV movie recently.
Oh, really? Gosh,
yeah, I remember it coming out, and you could get like a... Yeah, Time and Spaces it's called, which is quite cool. But you could get a signed version a while ago. I don't know if you still can now. But yeah, it's a photojournal of Doctor Who filming called Time and Spaces by Yi Ji So, which is quite cool, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Doctor Who TV movie in 2016. Oh, so it came out in 2016. It must have been like a re-release for to get it signed or something, I'm guessing, because I remember hearing recently it was coming out and it was signed.
That would have been, what year was that? 2016? Was that 20 years since the film?
Yeah. 1996. That's what I was saying. That's what's so weird is that in that film, it's set in the future, and for us, it's still miles in the past. It's crazy. I'm just looking and seeing. Oh, wow. So in the US, it was broadcast almost 2 weeks before the UK. That's crazy. It was broadcast on the 14th of May, 1996 on Fox in the US, and the 27th of May, 1996 on BBC One in the UK. That is crazy.
What a strange decision. What a strange decision.
Interestingly, on the Doctor Who wiki, it lists that the Doctor is the 8th Doctor, the companion is Grace, and it features the 7th Doctor in Lee. So it doesn't quite count Lee as a companion. But to be fair, he's barely with the Doctor. Like, he's only really with him at the very, very end. I just find it so weird that both of them don't end up being companions. And I also don't get the 8th Doctor saying to Lee to be gone for a year, like next Christmas.
Yeah, what? Can anyone explain?
And Lee seemed to know what he was talking about, but I didn't.
He was like, yes.
Actually, consult the plot.
Because we were because you and I were trying to theorize, like, did they go backwards in time a whole year instead of just a couple of days, which is what we thought they did at the end there? I don't know. It was very, very strange. And then Lee just leaves with some gold dust. There was a gold dust plot in there.
Oh, wait, hang on. The 8th Doctor gives the bags of gold that the Master originally bribed Lee with and tells him not to be in San Francisco next Christmas. In exchange, Lee gives back the bag containing the belongings. So we don't actually know why he said that. But he then says the Doctor asks Grace to travel with him. I must have missed that when we were talking over it. But she refuses and asks if the Doctor will stay with her. Oh yeah, because he says come with me and she says come with me. But they don't actually end up settling on it.
They're like, all right, well, if no one can agree, we'll go our separate ways.
Which is just a bit weird.
Very quick decision.
You should have done the 9th Doctor thing like you said and just come back and gone, by the way, did I also mention it travels in time? And then she's just like, all right, I'm coming.
She just runs, that's it,
I'm done.
Runs to the TARDIS at a lowered frame rate.
Like, what is the ending? To sum it up in the wiki, he settles back in his armchair in the TARDIS control room to continue reading H.G. Wells' novel The Time Machine. But the gramophone record that he's listening to suddenly starts skipping again, and as the TARDIS continues on its flight, all the Doctor says is, oh no, not again. Like...
And that.
What?
So, I mean, I understand it because it's a little reference to the start of the film when it did that.
Yeah, but are you trying to tell me he's caught in a time loop now? Is it heaven sent but nowhere near as good?
I just think they could have had a much more well-rounded conclusion if they just set up Lee and Grace as companion. Like, how much more satisfying would that be if they just did the typical, all of time, all of space, where do you want to start? Cha-chung. And I'd be like, maybe give me a TV series of that. But this kind of didn't set up anything.
But then again, Crispy, Lee and Grace are both companions that we met in Jodie Whittaker's era. Am I wrong?
Ooh.
I just blew your mind.
Oh.
We got Grace, woman who fell to Earth, and we've got Lee, the fugitive Doctor's companion. I have too much knowledge in my brain. And
do you reckon that was
the Jodie T-shirt.
That was on purpose? Do you reckon that was on purpose?
No. God, no. Surely not. Really? No.
Well, they were together.
I mean, the closer we get is in Hellbent, Moffat kind of goes, hey, you know how they said that the Doctor's half human? Let's just try and subtly ignore that by having Maisie Williams go, you spent so much time on Earth. Are you the hybrid? And he's like, no. What are you on about? And then they settle on that the hybrid is two people. I'm guessing that's Moffat's way of going, Because I like how all the showrunners kind of respect each other, but I think they also have their own opinions, like to slide in every now and again. Like, we know that Russell T Davies and Chris Chibnall are really good mates, and they both respect each other's work greatly. But then during the Doctor Who watch along for Stolen Earth, Russell was like, this isn't quite as exciting knowing that 500 other Doctors could have showed up now. So he throws shade, but we also know that he likes Chris, so it's kind of like, it could all just be banter. I don't know. Do we think right now, do you actually think the Doctor is half human on his mother's side?
No.
Yeah,
I do.
I agree. Because in my head, I remember him saying that line. I remember the exact delivery of it. So when it got to it, I was like, yeah, I remember this being a thing. What I don't remember is it being referenced so many times. I mean, the Master says it early in the film to Lee, and then he says it again later on that Lee can open the eye of the harmony because he's human and you're half human. I was like, wow, you're really ramming it home that he's half human. Why are you so obsessed on that? I guess it was the writers, they'd seen Classic Who and went, let's try and rationalise why he's on Earth so much. Which I get in a way.
But still,
I love Liverpool. Doesn't make me a Scouser. I don't have a Scouse accent. I go to Liverpool all the time. My accent isn't really Scouse very much. It has moments of it, but you know what I mean. You could go to London every year more than any other place in the world. Wouldn't make you a Brit.
That is true. That is very, very true.
This is the logical podcast. We have logical arguments that you don't think about too much. If you think about them too much, it might not work. But on a surface level, they work. You know.
Yeah,
on a surface level.
We work on the surface level. That's the level we work at.
Our brains only go to the surface level. Because everything's just memes and quotes and references beneath that. 17 DVDs, yeah, I know that.
17 damn DVDs. But no, I do find it weird that they brought that up in the movie and then didn't explore it. It's just kind of there. They just throw it, and it doesn't really matter.
You're expected to just kind of roll with it, aren't you?
Do you reckon from the writer's room, we kind of need a reason as to why they need Lee and Grace there to use the Eye of Harmony? Oh, let's make it because the Doctor's half human and they're humans. All right, let's do that.
Maybe. Because the original argument was the TARDIS liked Lee. But that seems to just get thrown out of the window. Maybe that was the Master just lying because we knew he was lying to Lee a lot. But
he did.
Also, actually, do you know what, right? I've got a really important question. This is the most important question I've picked up from the entire TV movie, okay? You ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready.
Did Americans not know what jelly babies were in the 90s? Because every time an American was given a jelly baby, they looked at it. They were like, what is this thing in my hands? They're sniffing it, going, what is this? And then eating, they go, it's not bad.
It's actually not bad. It's actually not
Americans, do you not know jelly babies? Are you uncultured? Are you uncultured, Americans? Are you uncultured?
I don't know.
Tell me right now, are you uncultured?
Let us know if you know what jelly...
You have to know what jelly babies are, otherwise you are uncultured. I'm saying it right now.
You must. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, to be fair, everyone listening to this is a Doctor Who fan, you would hope, so they would know via Tom Baker, hopefully, at the very least.
Hopefully. What a jelly baby is.
Well, I don't know what that voice was. That was half Australian. I'm half British on my father's side. What? This is hilarious. This is staying in the podcast. This is staying in the podcast. It's just my audio track, so we can edit this in. We have just had to pause the recording because Crispy here has just had a notification saying that his disk space is full on his computer. How has he managed this? I don't know. I want to ask him, but you won't hear him answer the question. So you can all just sit here and imagine that it's because he's a terribly organized YouTuber, and I can really rail on him right now, and he could say anything he wants, and you will never hear it. It's very funny. So I'm just waiting for him now. I'm just going to give a running track, and if he wants to cut some of this out, he can. How are you all doing? Are you all doing well? I hope you're doing well. Have you actually seen the TV movie? You know, what did you think of it? I'll put a poll in to say what you think about it and whether you like the film or not, or whether you think the Grey should be a bit of companion. There's a few questions we could come up with for the poll. I might get Crispy to come up with the poll question this time. We'll see. But we'll have
okay,
also
I'm back.
If you've got
He's back.
He's back.
Give me a
I'll
clap.
slide one
Give
more
me a
thing
clap.
in here. We're not gonna do clapping. We didn't clap the first time. I just sync it up.
Yeah,
we'll clap
I
if
know,
you
but I'm
want.
coming back in.
We'll clap if you want. The listeners can hear how it's like behind the scenes. 3, 2, 1, clap. And what you'll hear in the podcast, no doubt, is that they're completely out of sync because when we do that clapping, they're never aligned. There's normally a good second between the two of them. So if you hear a gap, that's intentional because for some reason the clapping doesn't sync. It just helps us find out where the lines are up to, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's all it's there for. I think we've had a few little technical issues and we're cutting out at certain points, but currently we're about 50 minutes into the recording. So I think, regardless of where we're up to, it might be a good point to kind of just sum up our thoughts and kind of give a final thought on the TV movie because it's clear that we're just kind of running on fumes now. We've not got much else to say about the podcast.
Absolutely.
About the film, sorry. The podcast is amazing and you should all hopefully still be listening. But... So yeah, I remember liking it when I was younger, but I think now it's odd. It's odd, you know?
Yeah.
Like if I'm thinking in my head replayability, would I watch the film again? Not anytime soon. There's not much in
Neither.
Doctor Who where I wouldn't watch. I'm kind of like, I feel like that about Matt Smith's era, mainly because of just a lot of its story arcs, not because it's bad, but it's just kind of like it's harder to watch isolated episodes. And I also kind of feel like that about Series 11. I like that series, but I don't find those episodes as revisitable. Whatever. Yeah, revisitable. That's probably not a word, and I've just made it up, but whatever. As like, say, Series 12 or even Flux. Flux is one big story, but I could revisit certain episodes from that with relative ease. Especially the Vanquishers. You love the Vanquishers, don't you, Crispy? You love that episode.
I flippin' love them, bro.
You love the Vanquishers.
I love them
he loves it. It's
so
a great episode. He loves
much.
It. We're gonna next weekend, the weekend after this one, that this episode goes up in my Discord server. We're gonna watch all of Flux in one go as a watch along. It's gonna be so fun. I'm really excited for it. So I get to watch all this 1 6-hour film like I've always wanted to. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That will be fun.
But yeah, so I didn't even give it a score at the start. You gave it a score. So are you settling with your 6, or are you gonna amend it based on our discussions?
I'm gonna stick with my 6, and then I'll give some final thoughts once you give your final thoughts.
I will give it a 6 as well. I kind of want to give it a 5, but I think Paul McGann's brilliant. There's some good casting choices. There's some good shots. The music is really good in places, but the plot makes absolutely no sense in the last act. Well, it kind of does, but it kind of doesn't. And I don't like Doctor Who's not always made sense. I mean, the canon. I remember hearing the phrase somewhere, and I think I've said it before on the podcast, that Doctor Who's canon is just a big ball of rubber bands held together by more rubber bands. It's not exactly the most solid canon in the universe.
No,
but at the same time, some things kind of have to make sense, and not enough in that last act made sense, in my opinion.
No.
So I'm sticking with a 6. I think that it had good moments. There were some really strong points, but there were also some very, very weak points and points that didn't make sense. And the ending just didn't feel satisfying at all. The companions all go their separate ways with very little celebration. And then apparently we're doomed to repeat it again because the Master breaks out. We didn't even see him. Did we even see him go back in a box in the end? I thought he just got sucked into the Eye of Harmony and the TARDIS was digesting him.
Yeah, no,
I'm pretty sure the TARDIS was like...
in the TARDIS.
Because the Doctor says indigestion, doesn't he? Yeah. So how it's all starting again, I don't know. Maybe the cup of tea and the gramophone just have their own sentience and they're the next villains. Maybe they're Autons.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what they were setting up. Maybe that's what they were setting up.
Maybe at this point that Russell Davies was like, maybe he immediately regenerates to the Ninth Doctor by accident and he's fighting the Autons that possessed his TARDIS. Maybe that's where his head goes. Who knows?
Your mind.
And that's why the TARDIS has to reset. It's purging to get rid of the Nestine consciousness. I don't know.
Wow. That was
I need my sleep.
That was a tangent.
I've only had about 5 or 6 hours sleep because I stayed until 3 a.m. sorting my room.
Let's wrap this up. Come on.
Let's wrap this up. I've got to Hoover next. I'm hoovering the house next. I'm a clean boy. Yeah, I'm one clean boy. I'm doing that housework. Let's get that bread. Let's get the house cleaning bread. So, but I think that's a good point to wrap it up. I think this has been a bit more rambly than we intended it to be. But we still hope that you enjoyed it, because it's been interesting to talk about it and just do a slightly different episode. I feel like it's been interesting just to kind of, mix up the formula and just kind of give our thoughts on the film. We didn't watch it and then go talk about it immediately afterwards. Like Crispy said, he's going to have the commentaries for both of our tracks. There'll be some bugs and stuff for when his internet cut out and when mine completely shut off for like 10 minutes. But he's going to try and make it into an episode. We'll say try, so you've got a get out clause in case it doesn't work. But I hope it does.
You.
I think there'd be a great video there if you could get it working for your channel, and I might steal it and put it on mine as well. But what? Sorry,
100%.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that to you.
You can do whatever you want.
Let it be known on the podcast that Crispy just gave me carte blanche. He just gave me a blank check to do what I want. I will remember that, and I will hold it against him until the end of time. The episode that we were going to talk about this episode. You see what I did there? That was a really great segue. That was brilliant.
That was nice.
But speaking of the end of time, all things must come to an end, and this podcast is coming to an end as well. I think this episode is running a bit short. We've only been recording for 55 minutes. I think there's going to be some bits cut out, so we're probably around the 50-minute mark. So it's a bit less than normal. But we didn't have as much to talk about with the film because we kind of thought we'd have loads, but there's just not as much going on,
It's just not
quite as much going on.
Not much meat.
No, there's not much meat. It doesn't taste like chicken this time.
No.
We're going to watch this movie,
chicken.
And then going into TV shows, you'll be like, you've dabbled with Doctor Who, now meet the genuine article.
Ooh, it all works.
It back.
There's layers.
The listeners there were like, you know what? Maybe Troy's not going to make the Absorbaloff joke.
We still have that jokes.
Still got it.
We haven't mentioned Paul or James Corden, though.
It lives on. But I think that'll about do it for this podcast episode. So, as always, thank you all very much for listening and watching. Watching on YouTube and Spotify, listening on Apple. I'm going to keep making that joke, even though I love you, Apple listeners, and you're literally half our audio viewership. And I keep saying the same thing every time, but it's a funny joke to be like, hey, Apple Podcast listeners. How's the video version? Is it going well for you? I mean, literally, it's not even roasting you, it's roasting Apple. Like, at the end of the day, I'm roasting Apple. Apple should be doing... If Spotify can do a video podcast option, Apple should be able to do one as well.
Able to. 100%.
And so should Amazon. Amazon have a streaming service. How are they not having video podcasts? That make no sense. That don't make no damn sense. Make it make sense. So, hopefully an age will come where video podcasts will be available everywhere. And when it does, you'll be able to see me do the genuine article hand gesture, laugh at Crispy's terrible jokes, and walk off from just bad endings. Because last time I had to walk out, and you're not looking up a joke. We're not doing this. We are not looking up a joke to end the podcast.
I'm not. I'm 100%.
You are. I know you are.
I'm not.
I know that's what you're doing.
I swear I'm not.
I'm suspicious. Well, anyway, thank you all very much for listening. We will see you all next weekend in episode 8 of Who's There, Doctor Who podcast. So are you going to interrupt now with a joke before I say goodbye again, or are we actually going to say goodbye this time?
No, we're actually going to say goodbye. But I would just like to say one more thing.
I don't want to hear this.
I think the scene with David Tennant and Wilf was just really well executed in the way, like, there's no music in that scene. It's just pure dialogue, and you can just see the two actors working off each other really, really well. Don't you reckon, Troy? Okay, Troy's cut his camera, and we're going to cut the episode there. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.